Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you for your responses. Thank you very much for your responses. Let's stop the chat. Let us stop the chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So to last session, we have discussed about Route 53. Okay. We had a discussion about Route 53. Route 53 is all about domain name system. It's all about converting the domain name into IP addresses. And Route 53 handles regional failures also, and there are policies. Okay, so Route 53 is all about working with policies. There are 5 policies, as you can see in the slide. Simple policy, weighted, latency, failure, geolocation. So these are the policies. So we will be seeing at the practicals of the policies in today's session. So we'll be implementing how exactly AWS can help the clients to handle the regional failures. So all these are the plans for our today's session. So as usual, before getting into the session, let's have an interaction, this time with Mukam Zuba. Hello Zuba, how are you doing? You're from which location?
This thing is having a problem. Just give me a minute.
I can hear you. You're very clear.
Oh, okay. I'm from the United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your question, please.
I have a problem with my screen, so I'm trying to just give me a minute here. Or you can go ahead with someone else. But I'm struggling with my screen right now. Yeah.
Okay. Vaibhav, good morning.
Good morning, Sunil. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, Vaibhav.
So, Sunil, actually, my question is that as a load balancer is a critical component of our infrastructure.
Sorry?
As a load balancer is a critical component of our
infrastructure.
So, first thing, is there any limit to handle the request by the load balancer? And second, do we require the redundancy of load balancer?
You don't need redundancy of load balancer because AWS promises the load balancer will never go down. Okay.
Okay.
You will never experience load balancer going down.
Okay. And any limit to handle the request for the load?
No limit. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Ishwara Prasad. Good morning, Ishwara. Your question, please.
Actually, screen. You are sharing the screen, right? I'm able to see the black screen. We are not able. I'm unable to see the screen actually.
Okay. Is it the same problem with others also?
Yeah, I think so.
Vaibhav, could you please respond? Can you see my screen right now? I'm opening a Paint. Vaibhav,
No.
could you please respond? Is this the case for you also?
I think first interaction also he faced the same issue.
Yeah.
Vaibhav. So yes, I am able to view the Paint.
Yes, so the screen is perfect.
Yes.
Okay, let me reconnect it and
okay.
Yeah. Thanks. I don't have any issues. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Damodara Rao.
Hi, sir. Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Damodar. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir. How about you, sir?
Doing well. Yes, thank you. Your question.
Sir, I'm confused about ephemeral ports.
Ephemeral ports.
Yeah, sir. Ephemeral ports. So
Okay.
actually, I missed that part of the classes due to internet connectivity.
Go to the recording, Damodar.
Please
go.
Okay.
Okay. Rohit SM. 1 minute, please. Rohit, you are using older version of Zoom. You have to update it. Otherwise, we cannot talk. SN Maheshwari.
Hello.
Hi Maheshwari, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine. And hi, Sunil. Thank you for your videos and that.
Thank you.
And I have referred like 10 members, friends, and in my home also 4 members, brothers and sisters. Everyone is listening and your videos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much for your references, and thank you for your confidence on me.
I
Your
was
question.
waiting from 15. I was
Okay.
waiting from 15 days onwards. You
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now let's come back to technical question. Yes.
yeah, like now I have prepared like AWS videos, everything, and like I need to attend interview.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like a technical question, like career question only.
Okay.
And I have overall experience, 4 years experience in Oracle Fusion.
Oracle
And now
Fusion.
I need
Okay.
to, yes, I need to change how it will help.
Yeah, was the approach is the same. I have mentioned many times. I recommend you to learn DevOps also, Maheshwari.
Okay.
After learning DevOps, you have to put your skill sets in your resume, and you have to project 2 years of experience, 2 to 2.5
Okay.
years of experience. Okay, let's say you have 5 years of experience. You put the 2.5 years of experience in AWS and DevOps. The remaining 2.5 years experience, put it on your actual technology. Latest experience should be on AWS and DevOps, and then you upload your profile in the Naukri. You start receiving the calls. If you're perfect with the subject, you will clear the interview.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, anything more, Maheshwari? You can unmute again. You are allowed to unmute again. Yeah. Yes, Mahesh. Sorry.
that's it, Sunil. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's have one more final call. Again, this Zuba. I think you are ready now. Mukam Zuba. Dhanunjaya Yanugula. You are allowed to unmute. Yes.
Yeah, hi, Sunil.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for your questions.
Thank you.
So, Sunil, my question regarding to PC, I
Your voice is not clear.
have missed one of the session. So, connections mostly. Few partners database, right, through client to do the query.
Your voice is not clear.
Hello.
Yeah, Dhanunjaya, please repeat.
Yeah. So, in private subnets, mostly we are using to handle database and all, right?
You are right. You are
So
right.
sometimes what will happen is we need to do a querying for data querying on the database.
Yes, you are right.
That using on our laptops. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
we have to connect via internet.
Okay.
So how are you going to handle that?
No, we will be installing our client component, isn't it, Dhananjay? If it is we'll be installing, if it is Oracle, will be Oracle have Oracle client or whatever the client, isn't it? Okay.
Right.
And then we will have that host name and the port number, isn't it, of the database?
Yes.
Okay, and then the username, the root user, whatever it is. So we will be we'll have TNS names entries, isn't it, in our client machine? Okay. So hello.
Yeah. I'm following.
Okay. So instead of in the TNS names, we mention the host name. So using that, it gets connected. Anyways, we have RDS services with Dhananjay, relational database service. Okay. Okay. In fact, when you're coming to AWS, so we will be hosting databases not on EC2 machines, Dhananjay. We'll be using a separate service called as an RDS. So it handles it. Okay. We'll see it soon.
Okay. And I have one more question.
Yes.
Something load balancer. So basically, I'm working as a Java J2W developer.
Okay.
So when we are working with a load balancer, how sessions will be managed? Do we need to do any specific
session management happens automatically? Okay. No doubt. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And one more final question.
Yes.
It's more about billing side. So as we know, when EC2 missions were stopped, also it is going to be chargeable to us, right?
You are right.
Yeah. So one particular, I'm working for one particular client where the customer is going to turn off between the specific timings. So whenever the developers are working, only those particular timings, it is systems are on, remaining all the times, all EC2 machines are off. So is there any specific reason, even though if we can continually running, there is no change in the billing, right?
Even though we are continuously running the instances?
I mean to say, even though if the instances are running or stopped state, all the times they are billable. So I just wanted to curious to know why they are. Is there any
billing.
particular reason they are
See,
trying to stop?
no, your question is even the machine is stopped, why they are getting why we are getting bill, isn't it?
No, not exactly. So they are stopping the instances, but end of the day they are paying the money for the instances what they have allocated, right?
Yeah, you are right. You're right.
So why they wanted to stop it if they can run it 24/7?
Who wants to stop it? Tell me.
Basically, client was scheduled it. Just
Okay.
wanted to know that's all. Is there any particular reason to stop only for those timings?
No, maybe we need to check their business scenarios, isn't it? So we don't know why the reason why they're planning to stop. Okay.
Yeah, because India, who all are working in India, those servers will be available only 9 to 6 or 7, kind of.
Okay.
Entire night it will be turned off.
Not required. Yeah, probably could put it. For example, if you look at the Bombay Stock Exchange, okay, the stock exchange will have a limited number of hours. It starts at morning 9 o'clock, ends by 4:30 or something like that. After 4:30, there should not be any transactions, isn't it, Dhananjay? So typically every day they want their applications to be available. So in that case, probably they're stopping it. Okay. So you may never know it. Yeah, thank you, Dhananjay.
Thank you, Sunil.
Okay, so let's get into the concepts of Route 53. Let's spend 1 minute understanding the concept of Route 53. Route 53 is all about dealing with routing policies. So we will be DNS, you know it, and the second advantage of handling multiple regions, we'll be seeing that soon. Simple weighted latency, failover, and geolocation. This is all very important. Simple rating policy is all about simping. Simple routing policy is all about converting the domain name to IP addresses. We'll be seeing it soon, so that using that IP addresses, our request will go to the EC2 machines. Weighted routing policy, clients wants to have their infrastructure in multiple regions, and client wants some traffic to be distributed to region 1 and remaining traffic to be distributed to region 2. So as per the requirement, we will be providing the weights. Weights are nothing but sub percentages. According to that, the traffic is distributed. Latency is delay. Wherever the delay is less, the traffic will be provided to the network which is having less latency, less delay. Failover, we will maintain one region as primary region, one region as secondary region. Always request to go to primary region. In case of any disaster, if the primary region is lost, then only the request will go to secondary region. So to avoid downtime, that's failover. And geolocation, based on the geographical location of the customer, the content will be delivered. Okay, so all this we will see practically. Let's get into practicals. Let's log into AWS. Under services, network and content delivery, we have a service called Route 53. Under networking and content delivery, we have a service called Route 53. Okay, this is how the Route 53 dashboard looks like. Okay. To do practicals of Route 53, to perform practicals of Route 53, we need to have a domain name. Everything deals with domain. Obviously, every application will be end users will be accessing using the domain. So you need to have a domain name if you want to do practicals of Route 53. To show you practicals of Route 53, I already have bought the domain name. I have bought the domain name. I'll tell you how to buy a domain in Route 53. Step one, what you need to do is to buy a domain. In the EC2 dashboard, in the Route 53 dashboard, there's an option called registered domains. Under domains, go to registered domains. I already have bought a domain, sunilcloud.com. Otherwise, you can buy a new domain. So here we have an option called registering domain. Registering domain is nothing but a buy a domain. Whatever the domain you want, you can buy it. Let's, for example, your name is, for example, your name is Kelvin. So Kelvin can buy a domain with the name, let's say, kelvinhobby.com. You can search for any extension, whatever you want. Let's say I want to go with .com extension, check whether it is available or not. kelvinhobby.com is available. You can add to cart. Already the card is linked to your AWS account. You can add to cart and check out. That's it, as simple as that, like how you're performing an online shopping. Select the domain name, select the required extension. The price is $12 per year. Add to cart and proceed. Go to payment, click on pay now. Automatically, you get an OTP. Provide the OTP. The transaction gets completed. The moment the transaction is completed, that will be available under the registered domains. Under that, okay, I already have the domain bought it. So I have shown you how to buy the domain. I should show you how to buy the domain. If you have a domain in GoDaddy or any other service provider, you can transfer the domain from GoDaddy to the AWS. I recommend you to buy the domain. Okay. Let's say if you don't want to buy the domain, you just try to understand the practicals and visualize. So it's pretty simple. So the first thing what you need to do is to have a domain. I already have a domain. The domain name is sunilcloud.com. The first step is done. AWS handles regional failures. AWS handles regional failures. So Route 53 handles regional failures. To experience the regional failures, we need to have infrastructure in multiple regions. So to show you this example, so what I'll do, I'll create the infrastructure in multiple regions. Let's make the setup ready. I want to deal with two regions, London region and Sydney region. So my plan is to create infrastructure in two regions. My plan is to create infrastructure in two regions. Let's say client is having the infrastructure in London region and the client is having infrastructure in Sydney region. Okay. So what I'll do, coming to London region, I will be creating two instances and I will be attaching the instances to the load balancer. That's what I want to do it in the London region. So my plan is to create EC2 machine 1, EC2 machine 2, both the EC2 machines I want to attach to load balancer. This is what I want to create the infrastructure in London region. So let's proceed with this. I want to name the security group as mywebsg06 with today's date. And I'm opening a SSH port and HTTP port in this particular security group. And the first infrastructure, the first machine I write London 1. Okay, in my index.html page. All this we already know it. So choose an existing key pair. I choose an existing key pair, my London 06. I choose an existing security group, web SG 06. I want to create classic load balancer, my London LB, and I'll attach these two. So let's create the infrastructure in the London region. This is nothing special. We already done it many times. Let's proceed and create EC2 missions. In the London region, what I'm planning to do, I'm planning to create 2 web servers, and both the web servers, I want to attach it to load balancer. I want to create 2 web servers and I want to attach it to load balancer. In the Sydney region, what I want to do, I want to create only 1 web server. That's enough. Okay, so finally we want to experience it. That's it. We want to create 1 web server and I'll attach it to load balancer. So this is what the infrastructure which I want to create in multiple regions. So first let's complete the infrastructure. So I want to start with London region. So London region plan is to create 2 EC2 machines. And next I'll create a load balancer and attach the EC2 machines to the load balancer. This is what I want to do it in the London region. So for that, we need to switch to EC2 service. I want to switch to, sorry. Done. You do not have any instances. Let's go ahead and create instances. I'm creating instances in the London region, launch instances. I will go with Amazon Linux. T2 micro instances, 1 instance, and the bootstrap scripts. Next, security group. I want to name it as, I want to name the security group as WebSG06. And I'm opening 2 ports, SSH and HTTP port. I make it as anybody in the world can connect using SSH and HTTP, so that's fine. And I mention the key pair as my London06.pem. Your instances are now launching. Scroll down, view instances. You can see the first EC2 machine is getting created. I want to name it as London-1. I want to create 1 more EC2 machine similarly. I repeat one more time because my plan is to create 2 EC2 machines. First EC2 machine is ready. I'm creating 1 more EC2 machine. In the second EC2 machine in the index.html, I'm writing it as London 2. In the first EC2 machine, I'm writing it as London 1 just to understand the difference. Let's launch 1 more EC2 machine in the London region. Select an existing security group, WebSG06. Review and launch, click on launch. I can choose an existing key pair, my London 6. Next step, create load balancer, attach EC2 machines to the load balancer. I want to name it as London LB and I want to use existing security group. That is my web SG06. My dear friends, all these is nothing new. We already know this. And we also know the settings of the load balancer. Let's proceed creating load balancers. Scroll down in the London EC2 dashboard. As you can see, we have load balancers. You do not have load balancers. Let's proceed and go ahead with creating a load balancer. I go with classic load balancer. Name of the load balancer is London LB. Okay. Next, select an existing security group WebSG06. Next, response time of 2, interval period 5, 2, 2. Add instances. How many missions I want to add? These 2 missions I want to attach to load balancer. Review and create. Close. I am done with creating load balancer. The load balancer is ready in the London region. And how many instances are attached to the load balancer? The 2 instances are attached to the load balancer. It will take some time for the instances to get into in service. Okay. So this is about London part. Let's switch to Sydney part and let's create infrastructure in the Sydney region. Pretty simple. I'll be creating one EC2 machine. I'll be attaching the EC2 machine to the load balancer in the Sydney region. So step 1, I'll be creating EC2 machine. I'll name it as web server. And step 2, I create load balancer and attach the EC2 machine to the load balancer as usual. Let's repeat. And here I am writing the content as Sydney-1. Sydney SG06 is what I want to create the security group. You do not have a load balancer, so let's proceed. So not load balancer, go to instances first. You do not have any instances, let's proceed and create a new instance in the city region. Amazon Linux, T2 Micro, only one instance and the bootstrap scripts. I hope you're enjoying the background music. Okay. Security group, let's name the security group as WebSG06. SSH and HTTP port anywhere. That's it. Review and launch, click on launch, create a new key pair. I want to name it as Sydney-1. Done. Go with creating load balancer. Name it as Sydney LB. Select an existing to Sydney SG06. To 5 Add instances. Obviously, we have only one instance. Create the load balancer. We have successfully created load balancer and HRT easy to mission to the load balancer. So infrastructure creation is done. Let's test the load balancer of London. Let's wait, test for the load balancer of Sydney, starting with London. Load balancers. How do you access load balancer? Load balancer DNS name. Okay. Look at the DNS name, how it looks. It's not at all user friendly. Okay, so London -LB so some number US. So this is not at all user friendly. But as of now, let's experience the load balancer in the London region. In the London region, load balancer is attached to EC2 machine. So sometimes we should get London 1, my Google 1, and my Google 2 probably. London 1 and London 2. That's the content what we have mentioned here. London -1 and London -2. So let's experience it. So London 1, London 2, London 1, London 2. So load balance is working properly. We have independently tested the load balancer in the London region. London region is distributing the traffic to EC2 machine 1 and EC2 machine 2. So this is a job done by London region load balancer. Okay, so let's test the Sydney region. We need to test the Sydney because individually we should test both the load balancers, and then we can jump into practical. So I want to test the Sydney region load balancer. Right now you're in the Sydney region. So this is a Sydney region load balancer. I think the instances is in service. So definitely let's experience the Sydney region load balancer. Okay, this is the Sydney region load balancer. We should get the Sydney page. Perfect. Even though you click on refresh, you get Sydney 1 only because there's only one EC2 machine attached to the Sydney load balancer. So both the infrastructures independently tested, so they're perfectly working. So client, assuming the client is having infrastructure in London region, client is having infrastructure in the Sydney region. Now, we will not give this this load balancer DNS name to the customers, isn't it? So instead, what we do, we buy a domain name and then we link the domain name to the load balancer DNS name. That's what we are doing now. Okay, so let's learn how can we do that. Let's proceed. When we buy a domain name, we already have learned how to buy a domain name. Let's go to the Route 53 dashboard. Under networking and content delivery, we have Route 53. So domain names, you'll have it under register domain. Okay. Under register domain, you have the domain name. Next, I'm talking about hosted zones. My dear friends, try to understand. When we buy the domain, we also have hosted zones. The information, both information will be available in the dashboard. Now you can see here, domain name is information here, hosted zone option is here. When you go to hosted zones, please go to hosted zones. You can see the domain name is also available in the hosted zones. Select the domain name inside the hosted zone. You will find two records. By default, when you buy a domain name, in the hosted zone, you will find two records. Please observe here. This is the domain name sunilcloud.com. You will find two records, NS and SOA. By default, every domain will have how many records in hosted zones in Route 53? By default, every domain will have 2 records, NS and SOA. NS stands for name server, SOA stands for start of authority. We get 2 records, one record NS, one record of type NS stands for name server, one more record of type SOA stands for start of authority. So don't worry about the existing records. I will be creating a new record. I will be creating a new record. Now, what my plan is to link the domain name www.sunilcloud.com is the domain what I have bought it. And my plan is to link the domain name to the load balancer DNS name so that so end users will be happy typing the domain name in their browser sunilcloud.com rather than typing very difficult DNS name, which is very, very difficult to remember. So how can I do that? How can I link the domain name to the load balancer DNS name? That's what I'm showing you now. For that, we need to create a new record, that is record of type alias record. So how to create a new record? Look at this here. We have, by default, we have 2 records. I'm going ahead and creating a new record. What is your domain name? Your domain name is www.sunilcloud.com, and then you need to turn on this alias record, and then endpoint should be classic load balancer. Endpoint, to which one you want to link? I want to link it to classic load balancer that is present in which region? I want to link it to the classic load balancer present in the London region, and this is the load balancer. Perfect. And there are 5 routing policies, as I have mentioned in the PowerPoint slide. Simple, weighted, geolocation, latency, failover. So these are the routing policies. I am showing you a simple routing policy. The simple routing policy is very simple. It's all about linking the domain name to load balancer DNS name. That's it. Policy type simple. And create. Record has been successfully created. Now you can see the number of records. There are 3 records. Previously, there was only 2 records. Now you have 3 records, and your domain name is linked to the load balancer DNS name. Now, test with the domain name. I'm testing with the domain name. Now I'm writing www.sunilcloud.com. It should be linked to the load balancer DNS name. So load balancer DNS name, I have linked it, isn't it? London load balancer. So I should get it will take some time probably. As we have just linked it, it will take some time. I have sent your domain name in the chat box, www.sunilcloud.com. Open your Google Chrome browser from your personal laptop or desktop or whatever it is, and type in your browser sunilcloud.com and tell me whether you are getting that London page. We should get that. Please respond in the chat. It will take some time probably if you're not getting it. Yes, my dear friends. Working. You are getting London 1. Practically. Is this clear? How it's simple, boss. Technically, we buy a domain name, we link it to London load balancer. That's how. This is DNS. Perfect. Look at the responses. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm not sure why I'm not getting it. Okay. Both London 1. Obviously, both London 1, London 2. Perfect. Perfect. Super, super. Thank you. We have achieved the first advantage. What is the first advantage of Route 53? Instead of providing difficult load balancer DNS name to customers, are we accessing Facebook using this difficult name? Assuming Facebook is running on AWS, are we accessing Facebook using something like this? No, are we accessing Facebook using sunilcloud.com or domain name? So the domain name will be converted to load balancer, and then we are getting the application. Even Flipkart is also hosted on AWS. Flipkart is also using load balancer, but we will not access using the load balancer DNS name. So we access using the domain name. So that's how we link the domain name to the load balancer DNS name. So we have achieved the first advantage of linking the domain name to load balancer DNS name. Okay, clear about this? Any questions on the concepts what we have discussed just now? Simple routing policy. Yes. Ivansh, ready.
Hi, Salil. This is
Good
Madhav.
morning.
This is my child email ID.
Okay. Madhav, how are you doing?
Well, since 45 days, I'm trying to reach the last
My
batch.
God. Okay.
And I joined the DevOps as well. Very impressive.
How is the learning experience?
Very impressive. And I referred my friends as well.
Oh,
So
very good.
in the same session.
Thank
So one doubt I have. So for example, you said we can use Facebook and some other already existed domains. So how can we use that in Bootstrap? We need to mention that. So I just tried the last batch with some other domain which I have. So but I'm not getting the expected results which we.
No. Now tell me what you're planning to do.
Yeah, actually here the sunilcloud.com. So
You already have bought the domain name in your AWS account.
Yeah, something is already defined with
Okay, some xyz.com. You already have bought a domain name. Next.
Yeah, yes.
What you want to do?
I need to replace with sunilcloud.com with that domain name.
You cannot replace the domain. You have to buy the new domain and we need to remove the existing domain.
Yeah,
okay?
I bought it and I tried to use that one. Can you able to help on that? My domain name is zindagimedia.com.
Okay.
So I need the result what we expected, something like that.
Did you link the domain name to load balancer DNS?
I tried, but it won't work.
It's not working.
Yeah.
You have created an alias record.
Yeah, I did all those things.
Is that load balancer a classic load balancer?
Yeah.
Then you should get it, Avinash. Okay. Okay. You try one more time. Did you follow the same process what I have done?
Yes.
You will get it. Okay. Don't worry.
Let me
Otherwise,
try again.
Try it again. Okay.
And one more doubt, Sunil. Bootstrap scripts we use, right? Generally we are using.
Because Bootstrap scripts, I have used it because I want to convert that particular EC2 machine to a web server.
Okay.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah. Got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Sunil.
One more final interaction before getting into next example. Gautam Kumar. Good morning,
Hello.
Gautam.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
yeah, your sessions are very clear.
Thank you.
So I have one doubt, like a peripheral doubt.
Which doubt? Ephemeral ports.
Ephemeral ports.
Okay. Any doubt specific to this example?
Ephemeral ports. Not this. I have one doubt regarding that one.
Tell me.
So you said that we need to give that port range, right?
1024 to 65,000 some ranges there.
Yeah, for HTTP, correct?
Not for HTTP.
So
random.
If you open. Okay.
Not for HTTP. Where did I mention HTTP? I have not mentioned it. Ephemeral ports we need to open. I'm telling if HTTP port is blocked, automatically one of the port will be converted to HTTP. If SSH port is blocked, automatically one port is converted into SSH. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
CS Shailu. Good morning. Your question, Shaiju. We cannot hear you. Mukesh Divan. Good morning, Mukesh.
Sunil, hi Sunil, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for providing such a wonderful session.
Thank you, Mukesh.
Just want to know the things you have covered up in this DNS.
Sorry?
Can you the things which you have covered up in DNS, like in load balancer?
Okay.
So can you please come
Repeat.
again? Yeah, you can. Can you please repeat?
That is what I have done. I have created a new record, Mukesh. I have created a new
Yes.
record. Okay. And linked that particular
Yes.
domain to the DNS name. Anyways, we'll repeat it again in the next example, in the next policy. Mukesh. Same thing, we'll repeat it
Okay.
again in the next policy.
Sunil, I have a question. Like you have created a load balancer, and that load balancer linked to the two EC2 machines.
You're right.
Okay, on a region wise.
Yes.
So you have tested by
individually DNS name.
yeah, DNS name, yeah. And you also told that one of the region gets failed. So how it can be transferred?
One of the region is failed, assuming London region is failed. Okay.
Yes.
Then how it automatically gets diverted to Sydney region, whatever it is. Okay.
Yes. So
Yeah,
at the last step, last steps which you have performed. So I just want to know the second last steps because that was not clear.
we have not linked it to Sydney region. That's your doubt.
No. Before that, the things you have linked DNS, the domain name to the DNS name.
Yes.
Okay, through which the
domain name, we are able to
we have
access the
tested.
infrastructure using the domain name.
Yes, correct. So the DNS name which you have linked to the domain name, one clarity
clear.
is over there. Yeah. So
Anyways,
I
we'll
have doubt
repeat
over
it.
there.
We'll repeat it again because we do it again in the next policy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, Shaiju.
Oh, sorry. I think there was some mic settings.
Yeah,
That's the
no
reason
problem. No
I
problem.
was not able to speak out. Twice it happened like that.
Okay.
So, Sunil, I mean, see, my doubt is we have created a record with www under that sunil.com domain. So I have seen like major, say, suppose if we type in the browser just sunil.com, so where it will redirect?
It will redirect automatically to www. It should happen. Okay.
Okay, it should directly read.
Now I'm getting sunilcloud.com. You're right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what my doubt. I mean, like,
now you're getting the page. Thank you, Shaiju. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Let's move on. 1 minute, please. So let's move on to next policy. Simple routing policy. We have bought the domain name sunilcloud.com. We have bought the domain name and linked it to the load bar. Only one DNS we have linked to London region. That's about simple policy. Simple policy deals with only one region. Rest of the policies deals with multiple regions. So let's proceed with weighted routing policy. I want to proceed with weighted routing policy. Let's delete the two records. I have deleted the alias record which I just now created. So I want to deal with weighted routing policy. So my plan is, if anybody accesses the application using the domain name sunilcloud.com, if anybody accesses the application using sunilcloud.com, my plan is 70% traffic should go to London region and 30% traffic should go to Sydney region. This is my requirement, assuming this is the client requirement. As client is having servers in multiple regions, 70% should go to region 1, 30% should go to region 2. So when you want to divide this particular traffic like 50% equal distribution or 70-30 or 90-10, you need to provide the weights. Weights are nothing but percentages. So we'll be seeing this now soon. Create record. Create record. sunilcloud.com. Record type is always alias record. You mention it as alias. Endpoint, I go to classic load balancer, present in London region. Okay, so I have attached, this is the London region. Okay, present in the London region, and then policy, I'm going with weighted. Policy, I'm going with weighted. The moment I select weighted, the options change. Here I provide the weight as 70. That is nothing but the percentage. Evaluate health check, evaluate health target. It's not required. Let's click on no. And then record ID is something like just a token. It can be anything. So as the 70% is weight for London region, I'm writing it as London load balancer, just to understand that 70% referring to London load balancer. Okay. So I have created an alias record. Same, I have repeated something like a repetition. Same thing, record type A, classic load balancer, policy as weighted, provide the weight, and then create a record. I have created a record, and you can see the record which we have created. It is an alias record and it is weighted, and the differentiator is nothing but the percentage. I have mentioned 70. You need to create one more alias record, and that also should be weighted, and you need to provide weight as 30, and that 30 should go to Sydney region. Okay, create one more record, sunilcloud.com, and that is also an alias record. Endpoint should be classic load balancer that is present in Sydney region, and this is the Sydney region load balancer. Routing policy, I mentioned it as weighted, and weight I write it as 30, and evaluate health target health is no, and record ID I write it as Sydney load balancer. Create. Record has been successfully created. So I have created two records. Both records are of routing policy weighted. One record pointing as differentiator 70 refers to percentage, and one record is 30. 70% is going to London region, 30% is going to Sydney region. Now, my dear friends, now let's access the domain sunilcloud.com. As a 70% is London region, majority should get London page. If you're getting London page, please type London in the chat box. If you're getting Sydney page, please type Sydney in the chat box. As per our policy, so majority of us should get London page. Very, very few of us should get Sydney page. Look at this. Now I am getting Sydney page. Okay, that means 30. I'm belonging to 30%, but majority of you should get London page. Now tell me, now access sunilcloud.com, delete the history and access sunilcloud.com. Try to understand, all of us are accessing the same website, www.sunilcloud.com. The content is getting deferred. The content is getting deferred. Few of us are getting London region. Few of us are getting Sydney region. The traffic is getting distributed. This is the proof. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See, perfect, perfect. So you are literally experiencing how exactly we can distribute the traffic as per the client requirement. This is about weighted. This is about weighted routing policy. Latency. Latency is nothing but delay because of network traffic. I want to experience the latency routing policy. So I want to delete this weighted routing policy records. I want to delete the weighted records, weighted policy. I want to now show you the latency policy. All this you should project it in the interview, my dear friends. Latency. So latency, look at the experience, look at this. So I create a new record. The site is www.sunilcloud.com. It is an alias record pointing to my classic load balancer present in a London region. And select the load balancer available in the London region. Policy type, latency, and region. This London load balancer, you need to select London region. London region. And then evaluate health check, no, and London LB. Okay, so one alias record pointing to London region load balancer of type latency. One more alias record classic load balancer, which is present in Sydney region, and policy is latency present in Sydney. Evaluate health check, no. Any name you can write it. Latency. So two latency records I have created. Two latency records I have created. You can see here in the records, one latency record is of Europe network, Europe load balancer, and Sydney load balancer. Okay. Now, my dear friends, I am accessing now the domain using sunilcloud.com from India. As the traffic is starting from India, I am from India. Now tell me whether from India, if I accessing the site from India region, from India, is it London near or Sydney near? Distance, London is near for the Indian customer or Sydney is near? Obviously London is near. So latency will be less. Latency is nothing but delay will be less because the infrastructure is very near. Sydney is very far. So all of us should get, I mean, as the traffic is less, as the latency will be less because of distance, we should get London infrastructure. That's what we should get it, my dear friends. Are you getting? Please respond in the chat box. As we are from India, we should get London region. Please tell me in the chat box, what are you getting? What are you getting? If you're getting sometimes in Sydney, maybe you're a different region or you're getting it from the history. We are get London region. We should get London region. Perfect. Even though you click on refresh, you will not get Sydney region. Okay. Okay. Clear about this. If any participant is somewhere near to Sydney, something like New Zealand or Singapore, I think so, they will get Sydney region. Okay. So that's how you're understanding. So it's all about the nearest distance from the end user. So to that nearest distance, obviously latency is low. When the latency is low, the traffic is automatically directed to that particular region. Clear? This is about latency. We have discussed how many policies, my dear friends? We have discussed about 3 policies. Simple routing policy is simple, specific to one region. You cannot deal with multiple regions in case of simple policy. Okay, so we have discussed about weighted policy. We have discussed about latency policy also. Okay, we have discussed about latency policy also. What are the remaining policies to be discussed? The remaining policies to be discussed is the remaining policies to be discussed is failover and geolocation. Okay, one region we make it as primary region, one region we make it as second region, primary and failover geolocation, and geolocation routing policies. These 2 policies, because of time constraint, we will not discuss today. These 2 policies we'll discuss it in a tomorrow session. So before closing today's session, so let's have an interaction with some of the participants, couple of participants. Raghu, Pavan.
Hello.
Yes, Raghu.
Yeah, so my doubt is like as we are created domain name as like sunilcloud.com, so we are trying that. So can't we create one more sc.com so that it can either access
Which.com?
Something like sc.com. That's it.
Any domain, right?
Yeah, any domain, but it should route to same page.
What page it should route to?
For example, if we say facebook.com, it will load to Facebook only. If we give fb.com also, it navigates to Facebook.
Okay.
In the same
You
way,
can you can create an alias record that points the domain name to one more domain name. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
in aliasing
Like
only
how in alias again we mentioned the domain name. Okay.
so we need to buy the domain also. And
Obviously, you
after
have to
we
buy
need alias to the same
domain.
balancer.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Rohini K. Clear about whatever we are learning. Rohini, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yeah. Any question? I can see your hand raised. Your question.
Actually, I have one question. I have created an EC2 machine in the using the default security group, which was available to access everywhere. But all of a sudden, I'm not able to access that one. But I checked the security group. It is same as like default earlier. What could be the reason, sir? I mean, like
previously you are able to access.
Yes, sir.
First of all, do not use default security group. Create your own security group. That's the main problem. Okay. You create your own security group as per your requirements and change the security group from the default to the new security group. It will work. Default security group is for default purposes, internal use. Don't worry. Don't create new security group and modify the security group.
Okay, but in my company, the new security group which they have created, it will be accessed by the particular subnet, not through the everywhere. To access it from the UI, I'm not sure like I will be able to access it. But if I want to have the same same access from the UI, what I can need to do, sir, for that?
Do you remember in the security group source, we mentioned it as all traffic or something like that? Isn't it my IP? Instead of that, mention custom and mention the security group name there. Okay.
Security
so from
group.
that security group, you'll have access.
Okay, sir. Sure. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining the session. See you tomorrow. We'll continue the rest of the routing policies. First, we'll have an interaction tomorrow, and then we'll continue with the routing policies. Thank you very much.